Burn my damn finger.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
You remember when you was only 2 years old?
No,
You came into my life.
I don't.
Okay, who left the toilet running?
Whoa,
And many
man.
more.
Hallelujah.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's me, Justin Meat Peaks, Podcast Peaks, back here for Make It Make Sense. The podcast where we talk about anything, everything, and all the things that are on my mind and sometimes your mind as well. So let's jump right into it. Shout out to all the people who gave me feedback on my last podcast. They told me that I should keep a bottle of water with me for the coughing and the clearing of my throat. That took place in the last podcast. This time I just got a little bit of tea with me. Not water necessarily, but some tea. Just to keep me, hydrated. But we're back. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here. And this is episode 2. What we're going to talk about... up next we have, there was the title, one of the things we're going to talk about. Up next we're going to talk about OnlyFans, and we're going to talk about my first gun bash. So let's jump right into it. So for up next this is the segment where I want to just kind of reach out to my audience, to my friends, to my family, to my listeners. I'm looking for guests to be on the show, and luckily enough, just a few minutes, not a few minutes, but just prior to this podcast, I have secured my first guest for next week's podcast, my good friend, Dominique Clemens. She is a counselor of sorts. I want to say she is a social worker in the city of Chicago. So she'll be joining me next week. And she and I, we go way back. We go back to college. I've known her for a very long time, very good friend of mine. And we are going to talk about trauma and the drama next week on the podcast. So next week's podcast, we're going to talk about trauma and the drama. So besides Dominique coming on to the show, which is really exciting for me, I'm looking for guests to be on the show. Like, I'm looking for people to talk to. I could talk to myself all day long, for sure, because I'm a Gemini. There's 2 of me up here, so I can have a conversation with me all day. And we won't always agree, which is the crazy part. But I can do it. But I want to hear from you guys. I want to talk to you guys. I want to get some more guests on here. So I'm also going to be reaching out to my good friend, Brittany from California. She has a podcast out there on Twitch. Make sure you guys go check that out. I'm going to reach out to her. She gave me this link to a streaming service that she uses to partner stream with people. So she'll be probably my first video guest for the live YouTube channel that I do. So she'll be my first video guest for my podcast, but Dominique will most likely be my first audio guest in the sense of that she might not know how to work a computer as well as Brittany does, because Brittany's been twitching for a long time now. So we're going to get some more people on this show. We're going to talk about a lot of different things. We're going to get into a lot of different topics. But again, up next we have Could Be You. I want to talk to you guys. I want to see you guys. Now, here's the downside to tonight's podcast. I might not be as scratchy throat as I was last time in need of multiple glasses of water, but my allergies are killing me today. I have taken double the dose of my allergy medicine, and boy, does my allergies not care about that. I got the sniffles, so you're going to hear that a couple times throughout this show. Definitely been sneezing my head off today, and I haven't really been around a lot of like dogs and cats. So I have a dog and a cat, but neither one of those things actually bothers my allergies. And even like the grass hasn't been too bad, like with pollen and whatnot, because it's been raining a whole lot lately. But for some reason today, my allergies was on 10, and it was like, you know what? I don't care nothing about your breathing. I don't care nothing about your sneezing. I don't care nothing about your eyes. Bro, we coming for you. For those of you out there who have hay fever, like spring allergies like I do, you know it's real. Like, you know that allergies be not playing no games. So up next we have Benadryl so that I can get some sleep tonight, because I am not going to be up all night sneezing and teasing my nose with some tissue, all because my allergies don't give a shit about prescription medicine or over-the-counter medicine. So I apologize for the sniffles that you will hear throughout this show, but god damn it, it's better than me clearing my throat every 10 seconds. So, we're going to do what we can with what we got, right? Right. So, let's go back to why we are here and who we have up next. So, last week's podcast, I believe it was last week, but the last show I talked about, why are we here? And more importantly, what are we going to do when we get here? So, who's up next and what are we going to do here? We're going to talk about a whole lot. I want to talk about some real important shit. But next week's show, we're talking trauma and drama. Once again, my guest will be Dominique Clemens. She is a certified counselor in the city of Chicago, Illinois. So she will be coming from a professional standpoint. This is not somebody who just got some shit to say. This ain't going to be somebody just some ragtag off the street, I got an opinion type of person. No, she is a certified counselor. And I believe she still works in social work with families and, children specifically. So we're going to get to hear from her next week. And we are going to talk about trauma and how it affects today's society, especially amongst African Americans. Because let's be honest, we as African Americans didn't really acknowledge the fact that we had mental health issues and really didn't recognize or register the trauma that we suffered as children until like the last, I'll be generous and say the last 10 years or so. So trauma is a really big deal, and it's something that we all need to take very seriously. But beyond that, we gonna talk about the drama because funny enough, one of the feedbacks that I got for my particular podcast is that I've been giving off AM radio talk show vibes, which is not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing at all. It's like, what's that guy's name on that TV? Frasier. It's like Frasier, giving off that, this is Dr. Frasier, like that kind of vibe. I'm not mad at that. But the comment to that was that I'm giving off a lot of Mr. Peaks, but I'm not giving off a lot of Meat Peaks. For those of you who don't know, Meat Peaks is the, I don't want to say alter ego, but it is the alter ego that I have acquired from my college days. That person is particularly raunchy, but not like disrespectful. But he gonna say whatever he want to say, and he don't care who's there any day of the week. So we're hoping to see more of him in the future. From what some of my feedback has been, that we want to see more Meat Peaks or hear from Meat Peaks, and we're getting there. I can assure you that there will be a time where you'll be like, "Wow, did he really say that?" Yes, I did. So don't worry, y'all. It's going to get fun. It's going to be wild. We're going to have some great times. So, just stick in there with me. Hold on for a little bit longer, guys. I promise you it's going to be well worth it. But again, if you're listening to this podcast, I need you to just take a moment to just pause for a second and make sure that you hit the like button. Then you hit the subscribe/follow button. Then you hit the share button. And share it on your social media. Share it on your Instagram, your Snapchat, your Facebook, your Tinder, your MySpace. Whatever you are currently on socializing with. Make sure you share this podcast with your friends. Because I came to this realization earlier today in two parts. The first part was I have 400 plus personal friends on IG, 500 plus personal friends, air quotes, on Facebook, and I got like 41 to 50 people following me with my podcast, and I'm like, that's weird. I should have more followers. So either I have less friends than I thought I have, or people aren't catching on to this wave that's happening. So we want to make sure that the wave is being caught, and I want you guys to make sure that you're catching up on everything that I'm doing, getting notifications when I go online. You'll see more of this stuff hopefully on my IG page. I'm still trying to figure out how I can go live on YouTube and on my IG at the same time, so that way I'm hitting all bases. Within the next month or so, I will be moving my podcast, not from Podbean, because Podbean definitely is going to stay in my repertoire because they definitely gave me my start, but I'm going to start to expand upon my podcast's range and hopefully move it out into Apple Music and to Spotify here in the next month or so. So keep an eye out for that. I know a lot of people are like, oh man, I want to listen to your podcast, but it had me download the app and I didn't know if I wanted to download the app. I totally understand. If you're not familiar with the app and you're not familiar with the site, that you have hesitancies if that's even a word, about downloading it. But I promise you, whether you download this app now or you wait till I'm on Spotify and Apple Music, it's all worth it no matter what. So please, please, please stay on this line. Keep with me. Stay with me, guys. We're going to have some fun along the way. So that's my real quick, commercial break. But now back to the show at hand. Let's get to the next topic, OnlyFans. So this was like the quickest turnaround I've ever seen in my life. But let's just talk about this real quick. So OnlyFans within the last, I'll even say week because it wasn't even that freaking long. OnlyFans made an announcement that come October 1st, 2021, they're removing all pornographic type material from their website, or at least forbidding content creators from making pornographic type of post from their site. So if you're not a pervert and you don't know what I mean by pornographic essentially is anything that imitates or simulates sexual intercourse. So posting nudes is not considered pornographic, but obviously performing sexual acts is. So OnlyFans was like, yeah, we're going to stop letting y'all post pornographic material. Now, let's be clear. Here's why they did it. They made that statement because a lot of their backers are a lot of the banks that back this company, which is the same banks that pay out to these content creators. They were concerned, or at least not curious, because I'm pretty sure most of their CEOs have OnlyFans accounts. They just don't want to admit to it. But their biggest concern was they didn't want to be backing or paying out to content creators who were creating pornographic images, but more so pornographic images that may potentially involve minors or people under age and things of that nature, which by all means is 100% a crime. Child pornography is a crime. So these banks were making sure that they were doing what was necessary to protect their interests and protect their investments by not allowing, or not backing, not necessarily allowing, because they weren't stopping it, but they were basically saying, we're going to pull out unless OnlyFans makes this commitment to ensuring that we're not sponsoring or paying for someone to do something that is technically illegal. So 100% OnlyFans banks made a wise choice to make that claim. And OnlyFans was like, okay. So, of course, for like a hot second, everyone immediately is like, how is OnlyFans going to tell people or tell its content creators that they can't post these very sexual posts anymore? Because that's what most people go to OnlyFans in the first place, to get that raw, exclusive exposure to that person that they can't get anywhere else. And OnlyFans not allowing that essentially is like Taco Bell not selling tacos. They only sell cheeseburgers, but yet they're called Taco Bell. Very similar scenario. You can't, to put in perspective, D.L. Hughley made a post similar to this same notion that I'm stating right now. It's like Waffle House saying they ain't selling waffles no more. So a lot of people started making the jokes and the memes started coming where it's like the OnlyFans girls are now working at McDonald's because they can't do anything else now that OnlyFans shut them down. And for like a hot second, it really wasn't that serious. Like for like a hot second, it was serious, and then after that, it was no longer serious. It's sort of like actually subscribing to the OnlyFans page. Is when, now, let me be very clear. I have done the research, and I've looked into these OnlyFans pages. Yes, I can admit that. And here's the kicker. I've seen it. They bait you in. These women will say, it's just $3 a month to subscribe to my content. Come see me. And then you subscribe to their content. And then they charge you again just to see the content that you've already subscribed to. It's a total money vacuum for these women. And by all means, hats off to them. Kudos, ladies, for finding a way to get guys to and girls to subsequently just dump their money into you for second base nudes for the most part. And from there, we have those other, OnlyFans content creators who clearly go above and beyond and put basically amateur pornography on this website for people to view. And again, if you are the type of person who there's an IG model that you completely fantasize over and you're obsessed with her and she has an OnlyFans page, then obviously this is for you. You're going to want to see her do everything and anything that, you've possibly fantasized about just for the sake of seeing it. So when it came down to the banks, the company, and the content creators, it's like, oh crap, who's really losing out here? Now, the funny thing is, I haven't read the follow-up response in, as far as the why. But I know that within the same, I don't even know what, 72 hours of this claim that they were gonna do, OnlyFans reneged. They backed out. They took back what they were saying. They're not gonna impose this change come October 1st. But that doesn't mean they're gonna not impose it at some point. But for sure, they definitely pump the brakes on their own claim, and it's crazy, but at the same time, totally understandable. Because the reality is that if OnlyFans stops promoting or allowing this type of content to exist, then a new website or a web host will come out that will completely allow, not completely allow the things that are illegal, but they will completely allow these content creators to continue to make the content that they want and, to the level of extreme that they want. And they will make bank. And OnlyFans can't really afford to lose that bank. I'll be honest with you. If OnlyFans really follow through with this, if I had even a smidgen of know-how to create a hosting site to allow that, bruh, I would create my own OnlyFans. I don't know what I would have called it, but damn it, I would have created it. Because probably within 6 months I'd have had probably $25 million. Within 6 months from just hosting these women to do whatever the heck they want on this particular website. So I'm not mad at OnlyFans for backing down from what they said. I'm only mad because I don't have the know-how to create a site to host this on. So let's just be clear, OnlyFans. If y'all slip up, I'm coming for you. I think, you know what? I think I'm going to call it Peaks' Pals or something. Don't take me serious, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not going to create a website to host these women out here. Kudos to them, though. I definitely take my hat off to them. I don't know if they're considered sex workers. I saw a post somewhere that says they're considered sex workers. I feel like that was just somebody rambling in favor of OnlyFans, not in protest, but in favor of it. But whatever the title is, or whatever the I don't know, the department, what's the industry? Whatever the industry calls these content creators, that's what I'm gonna call them, content creators. But whatever the industry refers to them as, kudos to them. Congratulations for holding on to what you've worked on for the last 2 years, because that's basically when OnlyFans really took off, is when the pandemic hit and quarantine started. But again, OnlyFans is not going anywhere anytime soon. It's not changing. For all you guys out there who are still looking to, dump your money into a website, by all means, OnlyFans is still there for you. Granted, the hub is also still there for you, but that's free. But what do I know? Nothing at all. I'm just here to talk about it. So make it make sense, people. I don't know. You pay $5.99 to stare at the FG models behind. You pay an extra $10 just to have her behind not be fuzzy and blurred out. Or you can go to another website that will remain unnamed for free and not see that IG model, but see someone of comparable beauty and physique, and there's no blurring. Definitely stuff is happening. And yeah, so, whatever. But to each his own. And moving on from there, let's talk about the subject that a lot of people have been dying to hear about. And by a lot of people, I mean the 41 followers that I have on IG and the 3 followers I have on podcast, or Podbean, who are obviously not the only people listening, but you guys are also there as well. But we're here to talk about my first gun bash. So, for those of you who don't know what a gun bash is, that would include myself. A gun bash is, think bingo night at the bingo hall, except for there's no bingo. There's a lot more guns, and depending upon where this gun bash takes place, you're most likely going to hear "Yeehaw!" at least once. So, with that being said, let's talk about my experience at the gun bash. So, first and foremost, I've never been to a gun bash. I wasn't sure what a gun bash was. Let me tell you what my definition of a gun bash was. My definition of a gun bash was literally a bunch of white guys getting drunk and shooting their guns. 2 things that probably shouldn't happen together. Getting drunk and shooting a gun. Excuse the sniffles. But I was wrong. I was entirely wrong. It was not a bunch of white guys getting drunk and shooting guns. It was a bunch of white guys getting drunk around some guns. Yeah, I know, right? But, so the gun bash in itself, I did my best to walk away with some positives. But let me tell you how this gun bash really, really, really went for me. So first and foremost, I went with a coworker who was also a childhood friend, or a family of people that I'm friends with from childhood, I should say. And let's say, not let's say, but I was invited to not invited. I got the opportunity to purchase a ticket to go to this gun bash. So therefore, I purchased a ticket to go to this gun bash. And again, a lot of people, not a lot, but enough people told me, like, are you sure you want to go to a gun bash? A gun bash is like, not our scene. And by our scene, I mean not many black people. And I was like, no, I'm going to go because I paid $40 for this shit. So, of course, I'm going to go. I don't get my money back. That's like I've never been to a music concert. But if I pay money for a ticket, I don't really give a shit what happens at this concert, or if it's like, if, people are like, oh, I heard they're going to sing that one song that you hate. All right, cool. But I paid money to be here, so I'm not about to just waste my money. Like, what the fuck? So I went to the gun bash because, one, again, I paid for the ticket. So, of course, I'm going to the gun bash. And when I get there, man, the fact that I did not see a Confederate flag on the back of a pickup truck already in the parking lot blows my damn mind. When I walked into that there gun bash, and I say that there gun bash, there were white people everywhere, which, again, I'm not unfamiliar or uncomfortable around white people because I work in a school with predominantly white people who service a majority of African-American urban youth. So being surrounded by white people does not make me uncomfortable. Being surrounded by white men who probably use the N-word on a regular basis when referring to Black Lives Matter movements, that, on the other hand, is not an everyday experience. So I went in this gun bash. First and foremost, white guys everywhere. Tons and tons of white guys. But to keep this in the fact that I went with a white family, a white Italian family is who I went with. Or that's who I was the guest of, I should say. And when I got to the gun bash, white guys everywhere. White, there were white women there, of course. I mean, but, I definitely did what most black people in this situation would do. I looked for my people. And I looked around. And at first I was like, oh, shit. But there was an older black woman sitting right at the front table taking the tickets. And I was like, oh, okay. She looked like somebody's auntie, so I'm cool. And then I seen 2 officers in the back corner who happened to be local police officers. And they were both black gentlemen, but they were there to work, not to participate, just to work, to, keep the peace. Which at the same time we were totally outnumbered. And then of course, continue to scan the crowd, like, oh man, this doesn't look like I'm gonna run into anybody I know. Clearly. Then I seen like 3 other black guys. Now, let me clarify this first and foremost. This is a very old saying, not very old. And if I had it in front of me, I did have it at one point. To quote the exact person who coined this phrase, but I will say that all skin folk ain't kinfolk. I'm going to repeat that. All skin folk ain't kinfolk. For those of you who've never heard that saying, what that means is just because we have the same color skin does not mean we are kin, our family, are of the same walks of life. So just because you see other black people does not mean these are black people that you can necessarily relate to or connect with. With that being said, fast forward, 2 of the black gentlemen that I've seen are the African-American gentlemen, if it makes you feel more comfortable. They had cut on. And if you don't know what cut is, they were part of a biker gang. This biker gang was called the Freedom Fighters. And from what I can tell, 98% of the Freedom Fighters who were in the room were white men with beards, bald-headed, or a combination of both. Their jackets had different patches on it. These patches made me feel like these guys either A, served in the military or a branch of the military at some point in their lives and, decided that when they came back, they were a part of a gang of, not gang, but, they were part of a bike club of veterans who were, just still looking to feel like they belonged. So part of something, which is fantastic. Or they were the guys who probably met before or celebrated the day after January 6th. Not quite sure which way they swayed because I didn't really talk to many of them, but that's the vibe that I got from them. Or that was actually just my prejudice or my big, my ignorance showing that I just made these assumptions. Whatever. But the 2 black guys, or of the 3 black guys that I said, 2 of them was with those guys. And I'm just like, I don't know. That's how I felt. So, there's that. And then the other guy that I saw, he was one of the gun vendors who was, behind the gun table that they had set up at the front of the hall. And I was like, okay, well, he seems like a pretty chill dude. He got I seen him with a plate of food. He had 3 pieces of chicken on it, and like half the plate was covered in macaroni and cheese. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, he's a brother. Okay, I see what he's doing. I get what you, bro. I can see you from over here. And then I looked at his shirt, and his shirt said Cabal Skydiving Club established 2021. And I just kept looking at his shirt, and I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? Is there something? I was like, I'm missing something. Something's not connecting. I was like, maybe he was an airman. I think that's the name they call the military guys who jump out of a plane. I think they're airmen or rangers or whatever. So I looked it up while I was there. I was like, let me just Google, Cabal Skydiving Club or whatever and see what the hell this shirt is about. The shirt was a recent design that was tailored to mocking the Afghani refugees who fell out of a military plane that was trying to help Afghani refugees escape the Taliban recently, as in the last month. So here's this guy wearing a shirt that mocks Afghani refugees falling out of a plane as they escape the Taliban. People, when I tell you I was alone in this bitch, I was alone in this bitch. I was the only black man in there who knew what it was like to be uncomfortable in America as a black man. These other motherfuckers could not even begin to imagine the discomfort I had because they was just in there, in their element, and I don't know if I can trust them niggas over there, said Uncle Ruckus. It was crazy. Like, I was so upset by him wearing that shirt. I was like, bruh. Like, how could you wear that? And here's the thing. I have never served in any branch in the military. I know people who have, though. And there's nothing in my experience or my understanding of the military that would say, hey, I'm proud to be a U.S. soldier because I went and fought to protect and defend my country, or I went and fought in other countries to protect and defend the freedoms of those people that were living in that country. But I'm going to laugh at them if they fall out of a plane trying to escape to freedom from the thing that I came over there to fight in order for them to have freedom in the first place. You see where I'm coming from? Does it make sense yet? If I'm in the military and I go over to fight the Taliban because the Taliban is trying to take away the freedoms of people there, or even try to take the freedoms away from people here, I'm going to go to fight to defend freedom. And in the midst of me fighting to defend freedom, there are people who are trying to escape and find freedom. And in the midst of their escape, they fall to their deaths. I'm going to make a shirt that mocks that. Make it make sense, people. Make it make sense. I just didn't understand that brother's position. I really didn't. I didn't understand where he was coming from. I didn't understand why he had that fucking shirt on. I just didn't understand what the hell he was doing. But I was there. So fast forward, now that we've gotten the discomfort of me being the only black man in this room out of the way, yes, I was surrounded by white men. I was surrounded by cops, both former and current. There was a lot of Blue Lives Matter stuff everywhere. I seen a couple Trump hats and T-shirts and posters. The DJ or the MC at the moment, the evening, made an announcement about somebody losing their phone, and they found it, and he knew that it belonged to somebody who was in this venue, and in this venue, because the screensaver, and I quote, "Has anyone lost a phone? The screensaver is a picture of Joe Biden standing next to a communist flag." Toto, I don't think we're in Kansas anymore. Or maybe that's exactly where the fuck I was, in Kansas. So it was one of the most uncomfortable places I've ever been in my life. But it wasn't uncomfortable because I was surrounded by bigotry and hate and all these things. Because honestly, I can't tell you if anybody in there actually hated the fact that I was there. I can't tell you if anyone there actually hates black people. I can't tell you if anyone there truly believed that they were a part of the superior race, because I didn't talk to many people outside of the people I was there with to get that vibe. However, there was a lot of Blue Lives Matter things and Trump things, which put me on edge. And I'm going to be honest with you, it didn't put me on edge because, oh my God, I'm surrounded by trumpets and cops. It was more like, oh my God, I'm in a room full of people who I'm honestly afraid to ask what their opinion of things are, because I feel like they're going to say something dangerously ignorant, and I'm just going to have to look at them like, how did you, what? And I can't really argue with you because you have a gun on your hip. And this is not a confrontational moment. This is a conversation, and I don't think you're prepared to have a conversation. So it was a trip. I heard some gender neutral kind of jokes being made near the bathroom while I was waiting to go to the bathroom, and not gender neutral, but like gender neutral and like gender identification type of joke. Just people trying to figure out who they are in this world. And I heard some jokes like that, and I was like, man, this is like everything about this event screams America. It was definitely crazy, and to say the least, but not crazy like wow, because they weren't unruly, they weren't belligerent, they weren't doing anything that actually made me super uncomfortable. Like no one approached me, no one said anything to me, but it was just a different type of environment to be in. But it was enlightening because I kept telling myself, and I tell several people, that I'm determined to walk away with some positives from this event. I'm determined to walk away with a positive reflection of this event. And I actually did. I walked away with a lot of positives, and I want to share them with you now. So first things first, let's break down how the Gun Bash works. Gun Bash is very much like bingo. It's a cash-heavy type of event. You gotta come with money. I didn't know that. My perception of a Gun Bash was literally drunk, shoot. Yeah, like that was my interpretation of a Gun Bash. That's what I thought it was. But it's very cash heavy. Let's start from the beginning. Tickets are $40 to get in. When you get there, there are raffles upon raffles upon raffles upon raffles upon raffles. There's a lot of money being moved around when you get in there, and none of it is like, how can I put it? It's not money that's just being given away frivolously. Like it's your raffling for everything. So they had 3 tables essentially full of guns. And these were guns that they were raffling off. So a lot of people were saying like, oh man, Justin, like, people who saw my post and my stories at the time, they're like, oh, just go buy this, go buy that, and get out of there. And I'm like, I don't think this is how this works. And then I come to find out that's exactly what it wasn't how it worked. It was you can't go into a Gun Bash expecting to buy guns. You go into a Gun Bash with cash to buy raffle tickets and these door raffles and these bundles with the hopes of winning a gun through the raffle. And the crazy part is like, I know that sounds stupid, like, well, that's dumb, I don't want, but here's the deal. You spend $85 for this bundle of tickets. It was like a little bundle. It's probably like 15 or 16 tickets, because it was 15 or 16 different games where they called these numbers from these tickets. And of course, if you bought multiple bundles, you increase your odds of winning. But let's say you bought, it was $85 for a bundle of tickets. Let's just round it up to 100. Let's say you bought $300 worth of this bundle of tickets. And let's say you won 3 or 4, games from these bundle of tickets. Let's say you won 3 times. Each time you won, you got to pick one of the guns that was in that category. And they had tables of guns. So like, I wish I took a picture of it, but like, so there was the $4 ticket, the $5 ticket, and the $10 ticket. So the $10 guns, the $5 guns, and the $4 guns. The $4 guns, there had to be at least 15 to 20 guns in that category. The $5 guns, there was probably about 8 to 10. And then the $10 guns, there was probably only about 4 of them, but it's like 2 of them were ARs, and then like 2 of them were like automatic shotguns, 12 gauges at that. So you figure you spend $100 per raffle or $300 total, and you win 3 times, you get 3 different guns valuing well over $500 a gun. So you spend $300, you leave with $1,500 worth of guns. Like, you can't really beat that. That was fucking amazing to me. So they had gun raffles. You could raffle, you get the tickets, you could win the guns. They had door raffles, like the door prizes. Each ticket that, if you bought a ticket to come in, you mark down your number. They would just call the number of the person, or call the number of the ticket. And if your ticket's the one that you bought to get into the raffle, boom, you win. They had a gun safe that had like a mini gun safe that had 3 different types of guns in it: a shotgun, an assault rifle, and a handgun. They were raffling off that. Tickets were, I think, $10 for like 10 tickets. So it's like you go in there again, $100 on that raffle. You win that raffle, you get the gun safe, all the guns in it. Again, well over $1,500 worth of stuff. They had a giant gun safe. Once again, another raffle, which was like only $25 a ticket or $20 a ticket to win like a $1,200 gun safe. Like a $1,200 gun safe for a $25 ticket. Then from there was this corner, and I'm going to kind of segue off of this, but there was this corner that I was looking at the whole time. It was like literally directly across from our table that we were sitting at, because we were sitting towards the front, directly across from us. And it was like on the table, there was like 10 cases of beer, but it was like different cases of beer, like Trulies and like all these other cases of beer. And then behind it was like all types of vodkas and alcohol, like it was tequilas and all, it's just all types of liquor. And in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, that must be where the bar is at. But why ain't nobody getting no drinks from over there? That's just stupid. Like, what's happening? No one's actually going over to the bar and buying drinks. I thought this was like an event you could drink at. Come to find out, no. The entire fucking corner was the raffle. So there were 10 cases of beer on the table. I think it was 9 bottles of vodka, 7 bottles of tequila, 5 bottles of whiskey, shot glasses, wine glasses, Pilsner glasses, bags of like a cooler, like an outdoor cooler, like a wicker cooler, and like a box of like Lay's potato chips or something like that. Like all these different things. And that was literally a raffle for all of that. It was a car full of alcohol. And it was only, $20 a ticket? Not $20 a ticket, but like $20 a row of tickets. So like for $20, you get a row of tickets. And you could win that entire corner. It was crazy. It had to be, oh God, it had to be probably close to $1,000 worth of alcohol in that corner. And you could have won it for $20. Then there was like a Chinese auction. Then there was a 50-50. And the list goes on. And I took a picture, or I didn't take a picture, but I took a mental note of it. But then they had a poster towards the back of where the money goes to. So you would think all this money goes to, someone's pocket, but no. They have to pay out the vendors who cater. They pay for the hall. But then, the rest of the money goes to charities across the city of Pittsburgh. They had like baseball, like, softball league, like, for like youth athletic programs for different neighborhoods. They put money towards injured cops, different accounts or whatever was set up for injured cops and retired cops. So they definitely played their contribution to these different organizations or these different programs. Now, granted, since it was predominantly white, all of the things that they were putting money towards were, obviously things that you would see benefiting in those type of neighborhoods, in those, predominantly white neighborhoods. Because of course, none of the programs like that benefited children on there, except for the Children's Hospital. None of those programs were what I would consider like a minority group of children who would profit from this. And then of course there were, cop organizations, because most of the people in there were cops. So overall, I don't know how gun bashes work as far as like organizing them and putting them together and like getting people to donate or to raffle off these guns. Like, I don't know how that works, but man, I can honestly tell you, if we as African Americans could organize these charitable type events the way that this gun bash was organized, a lot of programs in neighborhood could benefit from the money that will be made in these programs or in this type of event. Like, I can't even imagine how much money they made at the end of the night. But I do know that they ran the 50-50 raffle twice, and the one dude won $1,500. Both times. The 50-50 was $1,700. Both times, the 50-50 was $1,700 for the person who won it. And it's like, yo, they're putting in so much money. And then on top of that, the segue back to the bar corner was, it was free to drink there. It was free beer. And then I found out after the fact, like not the very next day, but later that week, because it was on a Saturday. So I found out on Monday. From the family I went with, the coworker. I found out from her that They were drinking, literally, they're sitting at the same table as me, literally 2 chairs between us. They were drinking pitchers of rum and Coke. And I was like, yo, I was sitting there drinking a pitcher of warm ass beer because I didn't realize I could get pitchers of rum and Coke. I was like, my whole evening would have been different had I been able to drink rum and Coke. Had I known rum and Coke was an option, I'd have been drinking rum and Coke. And my whole evening would have been different. I'd have been in that bitch shit-faced and talking about yeehaw right next to him. I would have had a damn good time. I'd have probably walked up on the DJ booth and moved the MC to the side because the MC was terrible. He was good at calling the numbers, even though he had to get his readers on every couple of times, but he wasn't playing no music. He was playing movie scenes and shit. Like, he played a music video, was a quote-unquote, but maybe it was not a music video. Maybe it was more like an old-school trailer of a movie. But he played the trailer/music video to Smokey and the Bandit. I said, don't get me wrong. I love Smokey and the Bandit. I love Burt Reynolds. But why the hell am I listening to/watching this? You couldn't put some music on? Shit. I would rather have heard country the entire time I was in there than the shit that he was putting on. He played 1.5 songs from the time I got there to the time I left. And I got there at 2 o'clock and I didn't leave till 7. I was there for 5 hours and I think I heard fucking 2 songs. I was pissed about that. But overall, though, the Gun Bash was very, very, very informative. I did learn a lot about that particular culture, not white people, but the culture of gun bashes. I definitely learned a lot. And I'm going to go again next year. Despite what a lot of people thought, and despite what my facial expression was, because I was definitely uncomfortable, but not uncomfortable because I didn't feel safe. I was uncomfortable because I was like, I don't really get this, and I don't really understand it. And yeah, there's a couple of Trumpers in here with guns on their hips, and this somehow is all very fucking normal. So that was the only thing that kind of threw me. I wasn't expecting it to be what it was, but it is what it is. And yeah, I enjoyed myself. I can't sit here and act like I didn't have a good time, and I can't sit here and act like I won't go back, because I definitely will. But I'm definitely going back with cash on hand, though. I'm going back with probably about 1,000. If I go back there, I'm going with 1,000. I'm trying to win some stuff, but y'all don't understand. It was definitely wild. But it wasn't wild like I wasn't walking in. They weren't burning crosses. They weren't doing all that. They weren't doing nothing crazy. Like, they literally weren't doing anything crazy to make me feel like, oh man, I shouldn't be here. It's not safe. No. It was just more like, this is interesting. I guess this is what this is about. Cool. I can't be mad. Let's get it done. Let's get her done. But no, Gun Bash was definitely a highlight of my life for this year, for sure. It definitely is going on. It's going on the bucket list of things that I've done. But I'm gonna go back, and this time, hopefully, I can win something. But overall, though, I encourage people to go to Gun Bashes because it was interesting. But you know me, guys. I'm not here for a long time. I'm just here for a good time. And damn it, I had me a good time. So I hope to catch you guys here next week's episode. Remember, I will have my special guest on with me, Ms. Dominique Clemens from Chicago, Illinois. And we're going to be talking about trauma and the drama. So hopefully you guys tune in to next week's show. And hopefully by then I'll figure out how to get some outro music queued up on this joint, because you know, I don't like just fading to the blacks, but I ain't got no choice right now. I haven't figured out that. I'm telling y'all, wait till I get to the point where I get digital backgrounds and shit. I'm a CGI Obama in this bitch. But it's your boy, Justin Me Peaks, Podcast Peaks. Remember, guys, hit the like, hit the subscribe/follow, and make sure you share. And if you even pretend to be my friend, even the slightest, because I know some of y'all do, hey, make sure you hit that share button. It'll get me out there for the peoples. All right, I'll talk to y'all later. See y'all then. Peace.